Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSi DFS. I am McKinley412, and today we're going to be looking at the main later slate on DraftKings for Saturday. We have a different video out for the early 6-game slate happening in the afternoon, but this one's for the main slate later on in the day. Another 6-gamer, and a 6-game slate that has quite a few pitching options. We got Musgrove at the top, who's like, I don't want to say clear-cut number one because you got Gonsolin, who's, in great shape, and he's going longer into games as well. But even down in like the lower salary tier, we got some pretty, viable pitching options. So I really do like the pitching on this slate. Batting is, a little murky because of it. But still, let's just kind of dive right in. You can kind of see the rankings here, but we'll just go one by one to the pitchers, talk a little bit more about them, and then we'll kind of go into the builds and what they kind of look like at this point. So Musgrove at the top, going up against Pittsburgh. All the pitchers are under 10K here, which is awesome. So Musgrove, you can kind of see his numbers here on the season. Given the matchup, going up against Pittsburgh, the price, I think he's probably going to be your number one on the slate. If you really want to get into a debate and say that, there's another guy who's better at his salary on the slate, I guess I could listen to it, but Musgrove, with his strikeout upside, with the matchup, he's going to be, he's my top rated pitcher on the entire slate. Gilbert for Seattle going up against Houston. Gilbert was, high flying, amazing to start off the season, but, past couple of starts, you can see his past 4 starts here, they're okay, but still, he's allowing 3 or more runs in each of them. His walk rate is kind of there. In his first 5 starts, he allowed 3 total earned runs. You can't see, I guess, all the way down, but his first 5 starts of the season, he allowed 3 earned runs. Now he's allowed 3 or more in 4 straight starts. So he's kind of like coming back to earth here. He's certainly got the upside. He's certainly got the ceiling, but he is going up against Houston, and Houston, they have those wonderful left-handed bats and Brantley and Alvarez and Tucker. So Houston is a great team against right-handed pitching. So I kind of have him lower down in the tier list of these top pitchers just because of that. I have Gonsolin ahead of him for the Dodgers. Gonsolin was a little murky at the start just because you weren't sure how deep into the game he was going to go, but he's got back-to-back games now over 90 pitches. So I'm certainly going to have a lot more interest in him right now, especially going up against Arizona. He's got a great matchup. He just faced them earlier on in the season, got 24 DK points. But if he's going to go 6 innings and get me 7 Ks, like he kind of has been in the past 2 games here, at 9.1K, I think that's fantastic. I think we're getting a little bit of a discount for him at that price. So Musgrove and Gonsolin, your top 2 pitchers on the slate. You can kind of see them. I got them 1-2 on this tier list for sure. Yeah. Reverse splits, I have this, that's why they're orange. You can kind of see, so yeah. But let's continue on. Lorenzen, he kind of rounds out these top tier pitchers. He's had a pretty good season, all things considered. But, he's kind of been beating up on these lower offenses. Oakland again, Washington, Cleveland outside of Jose Ramirez, not too much of a threat. The White Sox, they've been battling injuries all season long. But now he's going up against Toronto. This is a whole different animal. So I don't have too much interest in Lorenzen just because of that. He would be probably a GPP guy at best. Brubaker, he's on my fade list just because, he has these games where he does pretty well, but he's on my fade list just because at his price, at his matchup, and all of the other options that are on the slate, I think you could do much better bang for your buck. Obviously, if you're making 150 lineups, sure, he's not a fade because he's a terrible pitcher and he's an absolute no. He's a fade because, there's just so many better options on this slate. Kelly, 7.8K. He's really, speaking of guys who have kind of come back to earth, to start off the season, he was flying high. He was doing incredible. Saw his price go all the way up to 9K and above. But now he's had 3 starts, which have been suboptimal. One of those starts was against this very Dodgers team that he is facing. He only lasted 2 innings, allowed 8 earned runs. So Dodgers are probably going to be a top stack today just because, they already beat him pretty badly earlier. And I mean, it's the Dodgers. They're just crazy good on offense. So Kelly, he reverse splits guys, so it's going to be like those Dodgers right-handed bats. It's going to be guys like Betts. It's going to be Turner and those guys there, the other Turner. But it gets tough with their salaries. And like I said, we will be building lineups and just kind of like, not full lineups, obviously, but we'll be building and kind of seeing like where things lie. How do you get these Dodgers bats in? How, or do we have to fade them? You know, we'll see. Taijuan Walker, 7.6K. I think I would rather go down to Johnny Cueto at this point, just because, I mean, this is Walker's 4th time against Philadelphia so far this season. He's already got 3 of them. That was his first 3 starts of the year. And nothing was super, you know, worthy of a 7.6 price tag in these 3 starts against Philadelphia. He only had 30 pitches here. He did have 4 Ks in 2 innings. Philly does strike out quite a bit, but still. 7.6K in this matchup and everything. I'd rather go down to Johnny Cueto, who is back. And, you know, he's had 2 great starts to start off. One against KC and one against the Yankees, the high-flying Yankees. So he has shut them down, hasn't allowed a single earned run in 12 innings pitched. He actually has more strikeouts than he has base runners against. So 7.2K, he's going to be very popular on this slate, and for good reason. Zach Eflin, now we're kind of getting into that next year. You know, Eflin, Kikuchi, and Urquidy. I'm not going to talk about Thompson. He's going to go maybe 50 pitches. That's it. You know, he's got nice numbers, but he doesn't go deep into games. He's not going to get the win and all that. So this lower tier, let's see what I got him ranked. I got him ranked Eflin, Urquidy, and then Kikuchi. Urquidy and Kikuchi, you could flip-flop, and I would totally understand that. But we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Eflin, you can kind of see he just shut down the Dodgers, had 12 strikeouts. He's not going to have 12 strikeouts against the Mets. It's just not going to happen. But you can kind of see throughout the whole season, he's been pretty consistent. He had 1 or 2 starts where he kind of struggled. But the one main thing is that he struggled against this very Mets team at this very stadium. So how much stock do you want to put into that? It remains to be seen, but still 6.9K. We are getting a little bit of a discount based on where he has been all season long, and he's been pretty decent. He's coming off a really strong start against the Dodgers as well. Kikuchi, he's the only left-hander on this slate. It is pretty strange. We got a 6-game slate, and there's only 1 left-handed pitcher on it. But Kikuchi, he's been pretty consistent lately. His main thing is like he walks quite a few guys. You can kind of see his walk rate is pretty high, given how many innings he actually is pitching. But he does have a pretty consistent K rate going on here his past couple of starts. He's got 2 or fewer earned runs allowed in 7 of his 8 starts so far this season. And he's got 6 or 7 strikeouts in his past 4. But like I said, his walk rate is pretty ugly, and he's going up against Angels. Pretty decent offense there. So, you know, I think he's relatively fine price-wise. And I mentioned he can go back and forth with Urquidy in the rankings, at least in my rankings. Urquidy, you know, he's got nice numbers, all things considered. He can have his blow-up games for sure. But his batting average against is like 315. And that's to both sides of the plate. Lefties and righties are hitting like over 305 against him on the season, or 310 against him on the season. So Seattle, I think, is going to be my favorite GPP stack. I don't think many people are going to be kind of going there. They're going to be going towards the Dodgers and Toronto and those guys. So I do like Seattle from a GPP standpoint. You know, they're very affordable. You can kind of get those 2 aces in. So that's kind of like where the rankings are. As you can see, Thompson, I mentioned I'm not going to be playing him because of his pitch count. Brubaker, just because I think there's better options all in there. But if you want to flip-flop Urquidy and Kikuchi, totally fine. Even if you want to flip-flop Kelly and Walker, totally okay with that as well. I just noticed I have Lorenzen in the high category when he's like 8.3K, but yeah, whatever. So here's where I think the bats are going to be. There's no team that's like super cheap. There's no Oakland like from the early slate where everybody is 2K or under like 3.3K. But your leverage stacks are going to be the guys going up against Musgrove, the guys going up against Gonsolin, the guys going up against Johnny Cueto. I think those are going to be your 3 highest owned pitchers on the slate. Top of the bats, it's going to be the Dodgers for sure. And it's going to be the right-handed bats going up against Kelly. Kelly is a reverse split pitcher. But it's going to be really tough to put those top Dodgers bats in. So let's do some building here real quick. I'll just kind of show you what I'm talking about. So if we throw in Betts, if we throw in Turner, even if we throw in the other Turner, I mean, okay, we're already down to 2.8K. It's just not going to be possible to get like a full out Dodger stack with two aces on the mound. So what you might have to do is take out one of these aces. We'll take out Gonsolin, and then we'll throw in Johnny Cueto, because Johnny Cueto, like I said, I think this is a fantastic price for him. He's definitely going to be in a lot of my builds here this evening. Now we're at 3.2. It's still looking pretty dicey. It's going to be looking pretty hard to get those in. But if you go Cueto as a pretty safe 7.2K pitcher, and then you want to take a shot at one of these lower guys, say you take a shot at Eflin, who just dominated this Dodgers team. Now I think you can do the same thing against the Mets. 3.8K, and that's with, you know, a top flight Dodgers team. Freeman, he's a left-handed pitcher. I mentioned, you know, splits are weird just because you have pitchers who are reverse splits. So we have right-handed Kelly, who, you know, right-handed batters hit better against him, but then you have Freeman, who's a lefty who hits better off of right-handed pitching, and it's like, which do you weigh more? But still, I mean, you can have this absolute loaded Dodger stack with Cueto, and you'll probably have to punt a second guy, but it's definitely possible. You can get there. But yeah, it's probably going to be a Cueto and then another punt pitcher if you do want to get this Dodger stack in. Second best team that I have going on, I have Houston here. Like I said, I really like the pitching on the slate, so it's kind of murky as far as the bats go after that. So if you have different rankings here, I get it. It is pretty murky. But I do have Houston, just with how Gilbert, he's kind of been struggling the past couple starts. And given how well Houston is against right-handed pitching with all their stud guys. So let's just kind of see. We'll throw in Alvarez. We'll throw in Brantley. We'll throw in Gurriel. I don't like throwing in Tucker. I mean, you could throw in Tucker or throw in Bregman or whatever. Altuve obviously is in there as well. The thing with Houston is that all their lefties take up the outfield, and it just kind of stinks. But we'll throw in a healthy Houston stack here, and then we'll throw in two aces and kind of see where we're at. We'll throw in Musgrove. We'll throw in Gonsolin. And yeah, you're at 3.2K. Totally possible. You punt catcher or something, or get another cheap outfielder. You could totally throw in two aces. Say you take out Gonsolin and you go down to Cueto. I mean, this is probably going to be a very popular pairing, especially in cash. 3.7K with a full out Houston stack. Totally viable. You can absolutely do it. So I do like Houston here going up against Gilbert. Maybe they're more of a GPP play because Gilbert, you know, he's got the numbers, but who knows? But I think my favorite, and then GPP build, it's going to be Seattle. If I was going to be targeting Seattle, the guys I would want, I'd want Julio Rodriguez. I'm going to want Crawford. I'm going to want France. And then you could probably choose between Frazier or Suarez. Winker, he's having some shoulder injury, but if he's back in, you know, he could be leading off in a nice lefty-righty matchup. Like I mentioned, Urquidy, he's allowing over like a 310 batting average to both sides of the plate so far this season. So Seattle can certainly string some things together. And Musgrove, Cueto, I mean, you're looking at 4K remaining with already a pretty solid stack here. Say you take out Cueto and you really want to load up on like a Gonsolin and Musgrove, you really want to load up on salary, you can easily do it there as well. So that kind of covers things on this slate. This is kind of where my rankings are at. Feel free to, you know, go against it. Like I mentioned, pitching is great today. Tonight on the slate, batting, it's pretty murky. So that kind of covers things. We have another video out already for the early slate, so please go check that out. And yeah, that kind of wraps things up. So as always, good luck in your contest tonight and this afternoon, and we hope to see you guys in the next video.